I had to run back into my seat. What's up? What's up?
Here comes some music.
Hi, my lovey.
Good
Sunday.
morning.
It's Sunday fun day. We're a couple of days late, but we all have lives, we have jobs, we have shit to do. And Shahidah and I
You'll have
just
snow
in the snowmageddon of the blizzard of 2022. Ciao.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as it could be.
True. But listen here. We got to jump right into this, Matt. Welcome y'all to another episode of Still Dope. And we got to talk about Married at First Sight, the honeymoon, the beginning of the honeymoon. And we're going right for the jugular. And we are going to start off with Alyssa and Paige. Alyssa and what's his name? Chris. Yeah, because Chris is now the new Paige.
You said that, and I'm like, no, he's smarter than that. He's smarter than her. He recognizes that she is gaslighting him, and he wants it, and he's trying to work with her, but he's not really falling for her bullshit. The Paige fell for it hard.
I agree. The reason why
and they had sex too. They ain't having sex. So listen, they ain't having sex.
Oh, we already know that's not happening. I guess the reason why I called him Paige is because he's just getting a raw deal right now. Like he didn't ask for this shit, And it's like this girl, like you said,
just like
she is gaslighting him.
Just like Ham and Eggs too got a raw deal with what's her name, Amy, whatever remember her?
Oh yeah. Oh damn, I totally forgot about them. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Totally forgot. Yep.
There's a villain. There's a villain in every season. I think that's how they set it up. That's why we talk about the show.
But
They put a villain in every season.
I'm like, as if look, I was like, Merla had us all shook last season, and I'm saying to myself, there can't be nobody worse than Merla in my book. Oh yeah, Alyssa is her right now. And Lindsay is a close second. We'll get to her ass in a minute. But another thing, I got to get my notes out because I took some notes and of some hot points. Why
I say you can't really right now. I don't think you can compare her to Marla. And I'm stealing this from somebody off of Twitter, and I don't know who said it, but they said Marla came in and she was snotty. But she looked like she was giving this man a chance and made him fall in love with her. And then at the end said, psych, big difference. Yeah. So she was a little bit more diabolical, because she really made all of us think that she could work with this marriage. And she was just like, nope, don't want it.
I mean, let's just say, I watched the after party. So, and you already know that I'm not really a big fan of Olajuwon, but Olajuwon hit that nail on the head.
Yeah.
When Alyssa stormed off after Rudy Huxtable was getting in her ass, and just, giving her the hard questions like, why did you sign up for this? You know what I mean? And she walked off. And Olajuwon hit the nail on the head when he's like, she didn't like what she saw. She was not attracted to him. And he called out, which I'm glad he did. He called out Chris's shitty ass friends, because I'm sorry, with friends like that, you don't need enemies, because his friend basically just threw his ass under the bus and threw his ass under the bus again at the brunch the next day when he's telling her, he's never going to be around, what he does for a living and he's telling her all the bad shit. So
that's one of those things that kind of drive me crazy in marriages or with women. She has an excuse. I understand he's a real estate agent, but he's going to definitely make time for his marriage. That's not like a cop or something. But when people say, like people who marry cops or doctors or whatever, and then they be like, they don't spend enough time with me. You knew what the schedule was when you signed up. That's a different story. Now if his job is, I understand because I've been in real estate most of my life too. I understand that it can get extremely time consuming and you're always trying to close a deal. But I think that he has gotten established enough where he definitely can make time for family. And for his friends to say he's always working, but yeah, look at the stuff that you're going to get from his productiveness. What do you want? There's, I mean, I know there's a fine line, but you work on your marriage first.
If he was good looking, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
We would not.
At all.
If he was good looking and had great teeth and everything, and he checked off all the boxes, and hell, he could have been a jackass, a dick. She would have made it work.
Why? With the teeth, why people don't get... Anyway.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people don't care about stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem.
Yeah. But what I didn't like about it was the fact that every time the conversation came up of snaggle teeth, they always cut to him, like a close-up of him smiling or talking where you actually saw his teeth. I thought it was a little rude, but I'll blame that on editing. What I will say is I was pissed that they even allowed this to go to the honeymoon. I was waiting when she wouldn't sleep in the same room with him, number one, at the night of the wedding. Right. And then they went to the honeymoon, and she basically egged him the whole time, acted like he didn't exist, was walking by him. I mean, when he was giving his little confessional at the airport where, the baggage claim, and he's like, oh yeah, that was Alyssa. She just walked right by me. She literally whizzed right by him like she didn't even know him. Like, bitch, that's your husband. At that point, I think that one of the experts should have intervened. Somebody should have flew their ass to Puerto Rico and said, you know what, we're going to nip this shit in the bud. Or we're going to sit you two down and we're going to have to hash this out because we can't let this shit linger. You're messing with people's lives here. I get it. It's a show. We love it. We watch it. Hell, we do a podcast on it. But at the end of the day, it's cringeworthy when I'm seeing this man. He's trying to do the best that he can. He's acknowledging her, she's like, oh, I'm going to spend all my time on the beach. And then he's say, okay, we'll stay on the beach. She didn't even like that he was accommodating to her. Oh, now he's saying he wants to stay on the beach all the time. She was just annoyed. She does not like him. And like Olajuwon said, she's not attracted to him. She's not trying to make it work, but she's doing it devilishly. Like you said, Shahidah, she's gaslighting him. She can never give him or anybody for that matter, she can never give anybody a legit reason why, or she just don't want to say it. And then it's always, oh, I'm not going to do this on camera. I'm not going to do this on camera. Bitch, you signed up to be on TV. Now you don't want to be on camera.
Even if she didn't like him, there's no reason for her to be fucking rude. That's what I'm saying. There's if she don't like him, she can be like, look, let's just try to ham and eggs or any of these other dudes that they're not into it. At least let's have a fucking get to know me at least.
Yeah.
Get to know me. Get to she's rude. She's just so rude.
So my take on this is one, I agree with you, Tanya, about the professionals should have intervened. I feel like when she wanted to talk to them and she was crying and she was saying that, she heard some things and she felt like, that made her uncomfortable. When I say in essence, they basically described her personality to a T. But at that point, I would have more respect for the show. And I'm really at this level with the show. I'm fucking done, really. I mean, I don't even know if I want to do another season of this because this is getting to be bullshit. But I would have had more respect for the show if somebody would have came out and said, you signed up for this and you signed up to go in wholeheartedly to really trust the process. So why don't you stay here in Boston? Think about how you're feeling. Let him go to Puerto Rico and enjoy the honeymoon. But because you need to think some things out. No, her whole speech to him about let's go through with the honeymoon and just see how it turns out. Basically what she was saying, I want this free trip to Puerto Rico and I'm not going to acknowledge you. I'm not going to try and build a friendship. It was evident in her actions. And it was obvious to anyone watching that she was not going to try while she was in Puerto Rico. She just wants the vacation. So they should have nipped it in the bud right there. If you're not willing to share a room with him, if you're not willing to try and build a friendship with him, you stay here and think about it, sis. I would have more respect for the show. Two, like you said, the whole gaslighting him, and he knows it. And it's really kind of heartbreaking to see somebody say, like, you know, I really want this. I'm trusting the process. They put it together for a reason. No matter what he said, she was going to find fault with it. I'm surprised she said, I don't like the way he tied his shoes. Look, he has 2 double hoops. I don't like that. We don't have anything in common. She was searching for anything. And she used everything. At that point, stop it. Send her ass home. She doesn't want it.
I would have even loved it to go even further and just rip, like you said, Shahidah, sis, you can stay in Boston and marinate on this. And Chris, we're gonna have a heart-to-heart, come to Jesus with you, Chris. We're gonna let you make the final decision. He deserved that. I would have been to Chris, if it were my show, I would have said to Chris, I would have told her ass, okay, we're gonna leave you here at the Museum of Science or in the Le Meridian and let you marinate on how you just showed your whole natural ass with your rudeness. And I'm gonna talk to Chris. I'm gonna be like, Chris, we got one of 2 decisions. We're gonna either give you an annulment and let you move on with your life, and not, you know, we're not gonna let you suffer any more, humiliation on this show.
It's humiliation.
Or we can do a do-over, because we're just at the beginning of this shit. Bitch, you want another wife? Let's have a do-over.
And how come
they have those options than have to deal with her ass?
And it always comes down to, how could you not see what her personality was? We all saw it in the interview process. We knew that she was superficial from the interview process. Dr. Cal, Dr. Viviana, or Pastor Cal, Dr. Viviana, and Dr. Pepper. You couldn't see that? You're playing with us at this point. And I will say this about the audience. I know that we all like a little bit of drama, but I think 99% of the audience really wants to see matches. We have a lot of drama going on everywhere else. We want to see people happy and in marriage. Like you look at Stephen and Noah, and you're excited for that. You know, I don't know how that's going to work out, but at least they're giving you the excitement of potential of happiness.
Right.
Don't give us this. Don't give us the Chris and the Pages and the Pages and the Chris and the Alyssas. Don't give us that.
I'd much rather see people work out. I get more excited seeing people like, oh, they match these people perfectly, and to see a love that would not have normally been there because they didn't know they would have known each other. I mean, I think I root for that more in the show than seeing people be disgusting. Really?
No, I agree with both of you. Yeah, I agree with both of you on that. Like, we all want to see them succeed. And of course, relationships are relationships. You're going to have bumps in the road. You're going to have disagreements. That's fine. We're going to see some drama. But this is just too much. That's too much. And I don't want her on the show anymore. There's a petition out there, y'all, on Twitter. I saw it. There is a petition out there to have her removed. Everybody is up in arms over this.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And you know, another thing is they know what she must have been very specific about what kind of man she likes.
I believe she was.
I like man with nice teeth. I mean, she even said it, after the fact or whatever. But when they listen to her, like, what kind of man do you like? I mean, if they listen to the dogs and cats thing in Lindsay, why wouldn't they pay attention to what she likes in physicality? And Chris ain't come back. Chris ain't it.
You know what they're gonna come back with, Chris? They're gonna be like, on paper, we gave her everything that she wanted internally, and we thought that she would be mature enough to forego the superficial looks. That's what they're gonna say, and that's what they said the last time and everyone, they always come back. We thought that they would be mature enough and want it enough to say, I don't want this particular thing, and go with it.
I would imagine, even in the interview, if you interviewed that woman for 5 minutes, you know damn well what kind of person she is. You know who she is. And you got 3 of you deciding on it, and then the producers of the show, and you still gonna put. I feel like they're gaslighting us to show.
Yep.
They need a villain. They need a villain.
Yep.
You know,
they don't, and they really don't need a villain.
I know. I agree with you.
Yep. And the fact that
her mom and her friend, her mom and her mother was shocked. And then, how Lindsay gaslighted him. I can't believe you told my family about us or whatever. I would never have said anything. No, you would have. He was looking for guidance about how to deal with you.
Of course.
Right.
She just looking for any kind of excuse.
Not open, because she literally contradicted herself. The episode, because she was talking about, I'm an open person. I'm this open book. I'm an open person. No, you're not. When you don't want to be on camera, number one. You don't want him to talk to your family. Number
you don't want to talk to your other castmates.
You don't even want to talk to him.
Right.
And point about the other castmates. Yeah, she don't want to deal with them.
Yeah, basically.
Like, why are you even there? Why are you even in the process? Why would you even? With the chance that with the chance you may not get someone who you physically initially like, they put you there with them for a reason. So if you're gonna go into this show and you're not trying to get likes or whatever, your Instagram following up, you got to know you may not find the guy attractive. That's part of it.
Yep.
So.
Man. Have you guys ever dated somebody or were friends with somebody who wasn't attractive at first, but you grew to really, really like them? Have you ever been in that situation?
As a friend.
But you never, it never progressed to more?
No.
I have been in that situation.
I had a friend that was a friend of
a friend.
We hung out. We kind of hung out with a friend
that was a friend of a friend.
No, we were a group. We were a group of people, like Cousin Kelly and all of us. We had a little small group that we would hang out. We'd go have drinks and stuff. Well, before COVID, of course. And there was one person that was always hanging out, and him and I got along very well. I wasn't physically attracted to him, sexually attracted to him. He was not the type of man that I would normally date, but we clicked. We had similar personalities. We made each other laugh when we were around each other in the group. It was like, oh my God, you guys should date. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not dating, doing what I normally do. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And, just one day, it was after a year or two, one day he's like, oh, let's go out and let's go on a date. And I was like, dude, I ain't going on no damn date. And I did. And we ended up having a good time. Dated him for a little, when I say a teeny little while, and then it just didn't work. And now I'll own that. But yeah, so
and that was with me too. It was actually, the same kind of situation. I mean, we actually worked together. And then we weren't working together, but we would always still see each other downtown, go, run into each other, whatever. And it was one of the better relationships I had. It didn't work out in the end, but if somebody had introduced him to me and been like, no, he's not really my type or whatever, and I probably wouldn't. But because we already had a stable friendship, it was able to grow to that point. So she definitely could be missing out on something, because she's stuck in her head. I agree 100%. Physical attractiveness is huge. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who, and even in those Islamic countries where the woman has to wear the burqa, the man has to, once he sees that off, to say, you know what, that's not gonna work, because physical attractiveness is important.
But here's the thing. The difference between us and other people and Alyssa is this is what you signed up for.
Right.
If I took the time to go through this process and apply, get accepted, then have to go through the psychological testing that it involves, and then have to meet with these experts, I'm going to say this in quotations, experts, and get to the point where I get chosen, that's a process. You're willing to go through all of that, and then the moment, the wedding day, you're like, no? Like, I could see myself seeing him and saying, if it were me, let me just talk about, I'm going to talk about on me. I have the wherewithal that I went through this process. If I walk myself down the aisle or have somebody walk me down the aisle and I look at him and I'm like, what the hell? He is not my type. In my head, because I like to think, I got a little bit of sense that in my head, I would say, you know what? Turn that off. Because this is how you've been working all this time and it ain't worked for your ass. Now the experts done found you somebody. Figure it out and make it work. I would try to see, there is a reason why they picked him for me. So I'm going to get to know him. I may not sleep with him, but I wouldn't sleep in a separate room. I'd do the hotel room and, for the cameras and whatever. I would do my best to get to know him. And I wouldn't care if his friends or his family threw his ass under the bus like his friends did. I'm not a big person on hearsay or what other people say about the person. Let me get to know you first, and then I'll form my opinion on you.
I am a big person on hearsay.
Jamie and Doug. That's what they did. That's what Jamie and Doug did. The first season. But if you watch the show and you know the show, she's just I don't want to talk about her anymore.
Yeah, we're done with her.
But I'm gonna just close out with one thing. When you say the psychological evaluation, I'm sorry, evaluation.
Get your mind out the gutter, girl. Get your mind out the gutter.
Are they doing that? Are they doing that?
Yes.
I just think they're doing. No, I don't. I think
they did because it was in the selection show when they aired the selection show, and I watched it. They said that they have to apply obviously online at the website, and then they do a psych eval on them. Now, mind you, I've had multiple psych evals because of my profession, and them shits ain't nothing nice.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're willing to do a psych, I am not volunteering unless it's for work purposes. I'm not volunteering to do a psych eval. Nah.
So I want to jump from a psych eval because it's amazing to me that they could look at her psych eval and come up with that she's a good person, because I don't think that she could skirt that from an evaluation. But to jump to Lindsay, y'all did a psych eval on her?
Oh, Karen? Because Lindsay is now the Karen of this season.
Now. Let's just jump to them now.
Yeah, because Lindsay, even if you do a psych eval on her, you know the type of man that she needs to make that match. I get that now. I get that. Mm-hmm. I get he's good looking enough. They look good together, right? Mm-hmm. She said she don't care how the person looks. She just wants to be married, this and the other. Fine. Mm-hmm. She gets Mark the shot. Mark is all in. Mm-hmm. He's willing to do whatever. And when she already Mark is doing the work. Mm-hmm. Doing the work because she's crazy.
Yeah.
And you know she's crazy. But that's his wife. And he's gonna do whatever he has to take care of her and take care of them for her, because she can't do it. Mm-mm. He came in and was like, he wasn't like, Lindsay's being so and so and so and so. He's like, hey, I'm representing my wife.
Yeah. I love that.
In the way that to make you guys understand, she's just Lindsay and she'll be good. It'll be okay. I'm gonna work with her. And he came. I was like, go ahead, Mark. Mark's in it. Mark's willing to work. And I told you guys from the beginning, she just needs someone to say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna be there for you, Lindsay. And that's Mark the Shark.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. No, and I agree with you, and Tanya said it too. But my thing with Lindsay is she needs therapy. I mean, I hate when you have these broken women on here and we have to say, well, she just needs this man to be this way. You need to be that way. You need to be able to save yourself, and when you listen to her father and you listen to her brother, it's so deep. It's so deep. So really, there's not a lot Mark can do because she has to save her. She has to do the work first, and she hasn't done the work. And
so I know that I said, I know that I said that, with regards to Alyssa, don't listen. I mean, you can take what the family and the friends say with a grain of salt and then get to know the person. But Lindsay and Mark is a different nut because this is her father. Fuck the friends. This is her father literally giving Mark the down low. Like, she is this way, you don't want to be on the receiving end when she's mad and when she's dishing shit out. Because basically, I agree with you, Shahidah. The situation with her mom, that's deep. I get it. I've had an absentee father. So I'm the classic, black girl daddy issues and shit that, daddy wasn't around. I've learned to deal with that and work through with that with therapy and what have you. If she's got to do the work, because there's no way you're going to love. If you can't love yourself and fix yourself, you ain't going to make it work with nobody. I don't give a damn how good you are. And then why would you do that to somebody? Because Mark the Shark is a good dude. Like, he just wants to be in love. And he showed and I know, and I got to apologize because I know when we first started on this season, I was like, oh, Mark the Shark is the typical stereotypical white Boston guy. And I was just like, yeah. But I am like Team Mark the Shark. He is sensitive. He takes care of his mother and his grandmother in the rehab and, in the nursing home. And he just wants to be in love. He just wants to have love.
Yes.
See, he's a guy who, like I would say, I would look at his looks.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it for me.
But I'm saying, if I got to know him and to see how he was, I could be with a person like that because he's a good-hearted person. And the way he went in and he got her own limo. Mm-hmm. Tried to calm her down, and then said, "You know what? You stay here, get yourself together." I mean, that was some top tier man shit right there.
Yes. Take your shower, boo. He was like, "Take your shower, sit on the balcony."
He not only he not only represented her, but then he went downstairs and played the happy medium for everybody else and was like, I'm not like, okay, what was the guy that took offense with his wife when they had that big argument? I think it was like a season ago with the one with Kristen Page. And they ended up
it was drunkard.
Yeah, the two drunkards. Remember how he didn't try and mediate that situation. He just went in all like, I want to show her that I'm there for her and I'm going to be this big. Nope. Mark said, I'm a mature, grown ass man. I just met this woman yesterday, but she's my wife and I want to protect her. But I want to make things right with everybody else as well. Top tier man shit.
Yeah. You just said he represented her or whatever. He took care of her or whatever. And then, I had it. It was a great phrase. Essentially, you were saying, because you said it specifically, there was a phrase you said, like, he went there and represented her or something like that. And then he went down there and represented them as a couple.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He took care of her, but then anyway, I agree with you. I think they're gonna make it.
On that note, because we're talking about Mark the Shark, because I was about to say it, but I'm gonna let your T-shirt say it. Go on, stand up and show the folks the T-shirt, because Mark the Shark That boy good. That boy good. That boy good. Let's give him a round of applause. Wait, and I hate. I mean, we keep talking about the whole him going downstairs and representing them. I literally, when he walked out there with all those couples and sat down, like I was like, I did that. That boy good. That boy good. He won me over because he had his professionalism and he spoke with them and he's like, I just, she is who she is, but she's my wife. When he said that, I was like, I love you.
Tanya, can you, because just in case other people did not see the after party, can you tell us what Olajuwon said? Because I didn't watch it either, but it brought a whole new light to the situation with Olajuwon and her.
Here's the thing. I wasn't trying to watch the after party because I'm like, we have to suffer through 2 hours of the actual show. Like I can't stomach another 35, 45 minutes of an after party. But here we are. But now I have to watch it now because this is when the tea comes out. Yeah. Because what they showed on the show was that she was telling them, I guess Lindsay lived in Puerto Rico for a couple of years, whatever. So she speaks Spanish, whatever. But Lindsay basically showed her ass and told them they need to speak Spanish. Does anybody speak Spanish? And they're like, Olajuwon was like, I speak a little bit of Spanish, but whatever, I speak English. And it's also Puerto Rico. So, everybody speaks English down there. So Lindsay, I guess, was like browbeating them about, you need to speak the language, that's disrespectful, and I guess it was, between Katina and Olajuwon, they were like, first of all, bitch, you ain't gonna talk to me like you're my parent. I'm a whole grown ass person. Worry about your husband and leave us alone, which I respect. But a whole plethora got left out. That was Olajuwon spilled that damn tea and in front of Mark, because Mark the Shark was sitting right next to him, and Mark the Shark just shook his head and was like, yep. That's exactly what happened. She ended up on the plane with her mask under her chin. She was a Karen. She wouldn't put her mask on. The flight attendants had to tell her several times to put her mask on, number one. Had to come back to her several times again because she was boisterous and loud on the plane, and they had to come and tell her to shut the hell up or quiet down. And she was just showing her whole natural ass on the plane.
I get her to be a loud drunk. A loud, typical Boston, ugly drunk. I get that vibe from her. And we already know that she's loud. I mean, I'm loud, just straight sober. When I'm in with a lot of people and I'm getting excited, I'm excited. Mm-hmm. But I know how to she doesn't.
But again, here's the thing. I agree with Olajuwon. And I know Mark was put in a funky situation because he just married her. I mean, he's only known her for a whole 24 hours. He's probably sitting there on the plane like this with his eyeballs like, oh my God. But again, you don't worry about yourself. If you know how to speak Spanish, then you speak Spanish to the natives or whomever, the people of Puerto Rico. You speak Spanish to them to your heart's content. Don't come to me and tell me how I need to act. I know how to act and I know how to conduct myself in any situation. So I don't need you to tell me how to act. I would have taken offense to that. And I was glad that Katina had Olajuwon's back. I'm not fond of Olajuwon. He's still working on. I'm still on the fence with him. But I'm glad that Katina had his back because he was going off. And then, again, Lindsay, that's why I call her Karen, because Lindsay with the white tears. Sorry, not sorry. She started with the whole, he started fluffing out his chest. Those are triggers.
Yes.
She was talking about him. You want to sling that dirt? Bitch, be prepared for the blowback.
Right.
Don't come at me. Don't come at my friends. Don't come at my family. Don't come at anybody or any person of color like us with that bullshit, because when we fucking hit back, then what you're not going to do, Miss Lindsay, is sit on your ass on your balcony and cry your white tears talking about he was fluffing out his chest and he was getting really fluffing out his chest. Right. Trigger number one. His posture was a little aggressive.
Yeah.
She was using all them classic Karen words, and I wanted to legit go through the TV and strangle her ass. This is what gets, and I know I'm going on a whole nother tier, and I'm ending it after this. This is what gets our Black men killed because of shit like that.
Yeah.
If she was here in Boston and that shit went down, and Olajuwon was fluffing out his chest and being real aggressive and posturous and verbal and loud and shit, there's a possibility that cops could have been called and Olajuwon could have been shot. Stop playing this game, people. It's
not just Boston, anywhere in the United States. Even on that plane, if she decided to really show her ass on that plane, he would have been the one being dragged off. Even though she was loud and boisterous and everything else, they would have been like, well, sir. And then anything that he said or did after that, but that's where he has to mature too. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I listened to him on the bus, I never was Team Lindsay on that. But when I listened to him on the bus, I was like, you still need to learn how to deal with conflict. And how, all of you are in there together. But again, I don't have the whole story or the situation. So maybe I'm asking him to be respectable to somebody that hasn't been respectable to him. And that's my bag. But him and Katina, and Katina's done. And and like you said, she's like, fuck that bitch. She ain't got nothing for her. So it was, and I wish there was footage, because exactly what you're saying, she pulled all the little race cards that white women do to talk about not just Black men, Black women as well.
Thank you. Yep. And let's give Olajuwon his flowers, because even before we knew what popped off on that plane, when Mark the Shark went down there and sat with them and talked to them, and Mark was like, I can have her apologize. And Olajuwon was like, you know what? We're good. Olajuwon took the high road on that one. He's like, although Katina was kind of like sitting there, and I would have been Katina, like, fuck that bitch. Nah, we're done. We ain't associating with her. Olajuwon took that high road, and he's like, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, you came down. We're done. It's squashed. When I see Lindsay, it's a new day. I'll give her a hug, do whatever, and we just move on from here. So I give him his flowers on that, because he could have showed his ass.
So I think that also strengthens the relationship between Olajuwon and Carnita.
Carnita? Did you just say Carnita?
Sir, I'm going to need you. I'm going to need you to pronounce my sister's name correctly.
Carnita, no, he's doing that shit last week. Girl, he's doing that shit from last week because he said her name 3 times last week. Now it's every week it's going to be a different name. Carnita.
Calamity had an attitude, but the two of them, he said, I appreciate my woman. He was just like, she's like, I'm not taking that, but backed him up at least. They were in the same. I think that bonded them together too.
Yeah,
and he's happy. He is happy with her. So very happy with her.
That's a good segue, because we've just spent some time on Lindsay and Mark. We can segue into Katina and Olajuwon, because all I got to say is Jelani. You go, boy. Her friend. Jelani was.
Oh, yeah, the guy.
At that brunch, Jelani was pulling his card.
Oh, okay.
And Olajuwon didn't know how to handle that. Like, Olajuwon didn't handle that well.
No,
it basically sealed. If I was Jelani, I would be like, oh, now you're showing your ass, and now I'm thinking that there's an ulterior motive here for you, because Olajuwon just got really defensive when Jelani was like, what are you here for? Like, are you just here for like the likes and to come up and all that on social media, whatever? And Olajuwon was like, you don't even know me, bro. Like, get at me, bro. Like, he was doing the most.
He was posturing.
Oh, he was posturing, and he was aggressive.
Pumping his chest.
Yeah, but that's what made me think. That's what made me think it was that the scene there when he started talking about Lindsay. That's what made me think, well, maybe you need to learn how to handle conflict better, because This guy is asking you real questions, and you didn't come with any real answers. You came with what I read as bullshit answers too.
Bullshit.
But I mean, there was a lot of, it could have been male posturing on both sides too in that conversation. But you didn't try and sell yourself. You didn't have the right words to say to this man, and then you got an attitude and tried to poke out your chest. And then I see the Lindsay situation, and I'm like, there he is, getting an attitude and poking out his chest, even though that was a bigger story to that. So I'm wondering about him. I don't hate him as much as you do, Tanya, but I do feel that he hasn't matured. And I know he said he took the 2 years to get to know himself better. I don't know who you got to know, but it seems like you're still a little boy.
And the fact that when he showed up to the brunch, and I'm sorry, I have a thing with etiquette.
Mm-hmm.
And when he showed up to that brunch with that tank top, you're going to have brunch. You don't have to wear a 3-piece suit, but a pair of, you don't even have to wear, we know it's summertime. You could wear some nice shorts and a shirt or a regular t-shirt. But the fact that he shows up with that tank top and the hat that he never took off his head. I'm sorry, I'm old and I'm old school. And I just feel I don't give a shit. Shahidah, you can wear your hat all day because we're women. We can go to lunch. You can never take off your hat. I wouldn't say shit. But Chris, my brother, if we went out to eat or sat down at any table in the house or anywhere, that hat needs to come the hell off. And if I have to say that to you, we have a problem.
Yeah, but I think I honestly with him, I don't think he knows any better.
I don't.
Just for the mere fact that you saw that when they first got after the wedding reception, and he downed the champagne, and she's like, "Whoa, let's."
Do you not
drink first before you? He's like, "I took that like a shot." I don't think he knows any better.
No,
you know
I don't.
What I mean? He should, but I don't think he knows any better. So,
yeah, and I'm looking at his family like you all didn't do him any great service being his cheerleader. You needed to raise him to be a man. I mean, not just cheerlead every goddamn thing he does.
Yeah, the woman that was so-called his mother, second mother, or whatever she was. I think it's his sister-in-law. I don't know.
I think it's his sister-in-law.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, bro, like, sis, like, teach this Negro the basics. Like, you take your hat off.
But he also seems like the type of person at this point, he don't listen to nobody because they've let him get away with so much. He's just a spoiled baby man.
Yeah. And on the top of it, and I don't like to dwell on this with like the mental illness. I know he acknowledged that he has ADHD. I get that. I don't know if he's on medication, but at some point, I mean, figure it out. Like that ain't ADHD shit. That's like common sense shit. As you got your own home, you got a great job. You just don't have the etiquette and the manners, or nobody taught you the basics as a man. So we'll figure it out.
So to me, it's going to be interesting to see him because he has a fantasy of what marriage is. You know, she comes home from work, she's cooking dinner, she's serving him. You know, I think his fantasy of marriage is what his mother and his sister-in-law and what other women around have done for him. What are you bringing to the table for a woman? And he just thinks his manly presence is enough. He's immature.
Because here's the thing. When men say that, I'm cool with that. Like, you want to go to work and you want to come home and have a cooked meal, but you still want me to work? That's great. I'm cool with that. But what are you, sir, bringing to the table? Because you don't have me in these streets doing all this, working a whole full-time job, whether I'm in the street or at home, and then I'm cleaning, cooking, and doing all this. No, that's not how this is going to work. Sometimes, sir, you're going to have to cook because I'm tired and I'm lazy and I've worked hard.
And I think it blows my mind because he really does seem like he's never dated an attractive woman before. Like, you were so wild on her looks. I know that it's like a shock. Okay, I signed up for this, and wow, I'm glad that I got somebody that's this gorgeous. I get it. But he really does act like he's never dated a beautiful woman before. And I think once that wears off, what's the name he calls himself? He used to give out to other women?
Isaac.
Isaac is right there. Right,
honey, it's a matter of time. Isaac ain't dead. It's a matter of time. Isaac's gonna rear its ugly head.
And I don't think it will take long, because like I said, his expectation of marriage is a fantasy.
That's total fantasy.
All the work and the compromising and the talks and the honesty and all those things that make a marriage work, I don't believe he has the tools for it yet.
I don't either. And that's why, I want to root for them, but I don't think they're going to make it. Chris?
I don't see any big negatives in Katina yet. I said a few weeks ago, Katina remind me of that girl that will stab you in an argument. I hold to that.
Get her to a point.
I hold to that.
Yeah, Katina is that woman that she'll fall back, but you get her to that point, and she's gonna show her ass, and she's gonna stab your ass right in the neck.
So I feel
Katina.
Maturity issues on her part too, but I feel like she's so ready for it that she can grow with the process, but she doesn't need a boy to go with her on that process with her. She needed to start off with a man, and that's why I don't feel that they're going to be.
The only saving grace that I think is that I think Olajuwon is going to try to put in the work necessary, because he doesn't want to lose that. Because he knows if he has a woman like this, he's going to do, hopefully he will do his best. He needs some motivation to grow up, to be that person. I think if there's anybody who can do it, I think Clementine could really bring it out of him.
I can't with you, Clementine. On that note, all I'm gonna say with regards to Olajuwon's mouth is going to be his worst enemy, because Olajuwon doesn't have the wherewithal. You know how you get people that don't think before they speak?
Like Lindsay.
Yeah. I think Olajuwon is that dude. Olajuwon gets he gets caught up in the moment, regardless of the situation, he gets caught up, and then he starts blurting shit out, whether it be appropriate or inappropriate. I just think that Olajuwon his mouth is going to be his worst enemy, because he's not going to think, and he's going to start throwing shit out there. And Katina, Clementine, Katrina, whoever the hell she is going to sit there and be like, yeah, no, this ain't going to work for me.
Y'all going to stop respecting my sis. But anyway, my whole thing is, Chris, I want to believe that I can't get with that whole thing about you needing another person to make you a mature person. And I know it does happen. I do know that people can grow together and mature together. I do get that. But I feel like when the person is really broken and there's something off with him, it's his selfishness, it's his immaturity is just too big of a factor. And I feel like with him, in his head, he's going to want to try. But let's say 2-3 weeks down the line, I got you.
But let's talk about his ego.
That's what I'm saying. And
let's add ego to that.
All his expectations of what he visualizes marriage to be are going to come out. And that's where it's going to test Katina's, commitment to this marriage. And I don't think he's going to end up being worth it.
Because here's the deal. He has the upper hand with regards to her.
You think
and
so?
It's a ego thing. He has the upper hand. All on paper. Let's do the math. She still lives at home with her mother, sleeping on a twin bed. Did y'all miss that in the pre-show?
No.
So she's at home with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a good job. He works for the state, apparently. He works for the state. I'm assuming he's in construction or whatever he does, or he's in the union or whatever he does. But he makes good money if he works for the state. He has his own home. His family's already vouched for him that he makes good money and he does very well. So he's on paper, he has the upper hand. So I think with his ego and how he is, I hope he doesn't do this, but some guys might manipulate and use that on a woman. Like, hey, I'm gonna want my dinner. Like when this process is over and honeymoon's over, you gotta move in.
I think you got. I think I'm trying to be on the other side and try to give him a little more credit for. I really think that he sees her and he really wants, whether he really wants to be married or not. I think he really wants to be married to her, and I think he realizes, I think he's going to realize he's going to have to do and throw out all that marriage, what he thinks it's going to be, throw it away. But I really think that he's going to, if anybody is going, he needs a motivation to change. He needs something, a carrot, be like, okay, what do I need to do? Because when immediately when they said, you don't cook, he's like, no. He said, well, we can work on that. I think he's going to have that attitude.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have the attitude of, okay, well, you don't cook well. All right, well, what can we do? I hope that he gets some. I think he can mature in that relationship, and I don't think he's ever been in a relationship forced to be in a relationship in the first place. You know, he doesn't like relationships. He has Isaac or this and the other, but I'm telling you, I think it's gonna, I think
I'm rooting for them. I'm going to root for them. I'm going to say this. I'm rooting for everybody except Alyssa and Chris. Because I think that something Married at First Sight needs to step in and figure that shit out. But we're not going to, I digress. Katina. Sorry.
You know what I was talking about too? With Alyssa and Chris. And, the major issue that they were having, why didn't anybody call him when they got to Puerto Rico to try, like a FaceTime, like, ooh, we heard what's going on, let's
do they know? Oh, you're talking about the judge, the
because Dr. Callan, why didn't somebody call and try and intervene? I mean, this is a critical moment. I know, but I'm saying
would be a call, a FaceTime call.
I'm just saying, here's a critical moment that needed to be fixed. So this is how you know that it's just bullshit. Here's a critical moment, and it's radio silence from you guys, and it's just the producers and the cameraman around. I'm tired of this show. I'm getting.
And also,
I agree with you.
Why didn't he have a talk with his friends and say, what the fuck did you say? What'd you say to her?
Did you tell him right away, though?
You didn't tell him. I heard some things.
Like I heard some things.
Yeah, she was.
But the only things that she could have heard about him was probably from his friends. I'd be like, hey.
He acknowledged that. He said, I don't know. I didn't do it. This is where I felt bad for him, because he was sitting within his brain and he was like trying to rewind. What did I say? What did I do to her to make her feel this way? And then he said, did one of my friends say something to her that put her in this way? I get it that he should have called his friends, but at this point, bro, we just got married.
I'm talking about in Puerto Rico. Once they get on, they're going on the honeymoon to find out after she knows there's something wrong. Asking his friends then. I'm not talking about right when she started being shady on the night. I want to know like the days later, or at least getting on the plane. Or I'd have been like, trying to figure out what happened.
He probably was, and we're probably maybe not seeing it.
She should have grown a fucking nutsack. And she should have went straight to the source. If I'm married you, and your friend says something to me that I don't like, he can be condescending because that was what triggered her when he's like, his friend Rick or whatever.
That didn't trigger her.
He can tend to be condescending.
Coming down the aisle is what triggered her.
Exactly.
Because like you said, he was good looking and they said that, and she'd be like, oh, I can be that way too.
He would have fucked him that night in the bed. For real though.
So I agree with you.
She's just looking for an excuse. Right, anything to grab onto.
But so since we're here, I'm thinking that his friend said something to her that she didn't like. She was already not attracted to him. Why didn't you take that shit to him in the room? You're in the room.
It doesn't matter though.
It doesn't matter.
She just wanted an excuse. She just needed something to hold on to. It doesn't. She doesn't want to. She doesn't even want to deal with them.
And that's why her body language said it best.
Check her body language when she went to talk to his friends. She didn't want to fucking talk to them. She was out. She was like done.
She saw him, was like, I'm out. And from there on, anything, I'm out.
And her mother is so sweet and so loving. And I'm like, how the hell did you birth that demon child? And then her friend that said to Chris when they were at the table at brunch, and her friend was like shocked that she showed her ass, and her friend was like, but her friend acknowledged, that's classic Alyssa. She always does that. Well, then you know what? If that's classic Alyssa should not be on this show.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. And the fact that we're just learning this. Alyssa's a fucking crap. I'm done. I'm done with it.
Let's do
Can we go to
Jasmina and Michael?
Let's go to Jasmina and is it Michael?
Yeah.
I gotta love Jones for your body and your skin tone. I got a girl crush on Jasmina all day. You can't say nothing bad about Jasmina. I like her.
I was disappointed in her this week. I felt like her conversation with the sisters the sisters say that Michael kind of like, overthinks stuff and, goes for the negative. And she did exactly what they said that he did. And she did it to him because when they were talking about like, there's always things going to happen and arguments, she was like, I got to agree to disagree. She was ready for a fight to try and prove her point on something that was, but it was a rookie mistake. It was a young girl mistake. And I hope she grows from it, but it was stupid.
Thank you. Because I didn't get that whole discussion at all. And I was chalking it up to they're young. They don't know any better. Because I'm saying to myself, what are you guys talking about? Like, why is this even a discussion? Like there was an argument. Apparently there was an argument that I was like, is that really, I'm like watching it and I'm like, is that really an argument? Like they're really arguing about that's some bullshit. Like I would never, no.
She did too much.
I would never with a dude like that.
She did too much.
I think they're both still scared. I think they're both still, everyone's still on edge, still scared about, oh my God, this, oh my God. So like not everything is perfect. You know what I mean?
And nothing is perfect.
And I like him.
I don't know what these kids today think. But at the end of the day, nothing is perfect. Life is not perfect. As we all know. I was
thinking that I wasn't going to be, like he wasn't going to be a favorite of mine, but I like him. I like his family. I love Jasmina's mom, and I give her 100% about how she feels about this process. I mean, and she's probably one of the first mothers to really express, this is my child, my baby, and I don't want her to be hurt in the situation. So I don't know you, and it's not going to be easy. I'm going to support this marriage because I know that in order for any marriage to work as a woman, I know that I have to support the union.
Right.
So I'm going to do that, but I'm just as afraid as you are probably at this point. And I hope he acknowledges that.
And Jasmina's mother is the first parent, as long as I've been watching this shit, that I felt that shit. Because I can honestly say, if that was my daughter or stepdaughter or any child that I had a hand in bringing up,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, okay, she chose this path and I'm going to support her. But yeah, when she looked at him and was like, I'm still, I forgot the word that she used, but she's like,
The only thing I disagreed with her on was when she said, well, I don't really disagree with her on it. I agree about when he was saying he had no representation of marriage. And she was just like, he has no, but Jasmina doesn't have a great representation of marriage either.
No,
I mean, not at all. It just seemed like her and her father and her mother didn't fare well. And then, she ended up with you. And you guys didn't, fare well. I mean, I guess she has a stepfather now, and
like her biological mother is abandoned them. Her biological father lives in Jamaica, so now she's got a stepmother that adopted her. That's her mother. I'll give her that. That's her mother, and then she's got this stepdad that apparently loves her.
It's a great representation that you can get love from anywhere from other people. You just have to be open to it.
But again, it's another example of you got problems, girl, and you need to address. You need to take care of that garbage in the backyard before you even bring anybody into your life. Been there, done that, got the sweatshirt to prove it. And that's why I've retired from the dating game, because I'm done. I can't have nobody with my drama and my issues. I'm all set.
So you haven't dealt with them.
No, I dealt with it, but I've just been scarred to the point where I can't invite that shit in my life anymore because I already know I'm going to fuck it up. That's a whole nother podcast. Yeah, that we could talk about that and we'll name it TT's going to fuck it up. I've owned it. I've been through years of therapy. Girl, you already know what I've been through in my life. Both y'all know. Listen, I got a therapist on retainer all day. Shit.
And they can make it. I think if if any couple I think could make it, it definitely would be the two of them.
Yeah, I hope
but they have to be. They have, and I know Katina's whole thing is like communication and any man. I mean, I'm that type of person where in a relationship, if you really want to break me down, stop talking to me and walk away. And she said she can't function like that. I can't really either because I want the answer now. And I know I'm not always going to get it now. And, so now I have to learn how to calm myself down until I have that discussion. But that comes with age too, and if he's like that, that's going to be almost traumatic for her because she's gone through it before and then it leads to like cheating or whatever. And so they have a lot that they have to work out, but I feel that if they're honest and get the therapy that they will be able to do that. Yeah. I like them as a couple.
I like them. I really do like them as a couple. And I will be upset if they don't make it because I want them to be the Boston Woody and Armani. Because they got that Woody and Armani vibe a little bit, not as hard as Woody and Armani. Yeah. They are going to be our Woody and Armani.
Can I just say one thing? That New Orleans show episode or season was probably one of the best damn seasons.
Oh, amen, Jesus. I will drink to that. All right, so now who do we got? We got
Noi Moi.
Go ahead.
And I got one word for y'all. I got one word for everybody. 3 syllables. Sriracha. I want to be friends with Sriracha Chow. I know Sriracha is at that drag lounge in Boston down there by the old combat zone. Drag dancing her ass off and death dropping. Shahidah, we need to go
combat zone. You are showing your age, ma'am.
I did say that. I did say the combat zone. I am showing my old
combat zone. It is not that.
It's not the combat zone anymore. It's now
the theater district, folks.
It's the theater district. Oh yeah. It's not the
I think the way Steve handled all that stuff, him being coming at him because he came at him at the wedding reception and came at him at the thing. And I thought Steve handled it really well. I think I like Steve. I like his things. I'm not sure about his whole work thing of like that's gonna be tricky. I do like them together in terms of how they look together, how they feel together. I do like them.
And it's apparent that Noi is falling for him because on the honeymoon this last episode, she's like, I'm feeling some sort of way about him. Like, so she's
it's the honeymoon, and the job is very important to her. She has not let that, she's fallen for him, but he has to come with a better plan because he doesn't have a plan. And I don't blame her on that one. And if he loves her, he has to give her that security. She said, I want a family. Her mama said it. I want some grandchildren. And I don't see that happening with a man that doesn't have a job. Unless, like you say, Tanya, you said unless he got like 7 figures in the bank and he's straight.
But he has to have money. He's got to have a savings because I don't know about you. I can't pick up and friggin' take 5 months off. I mean, I could, but I have that broke mentality. Like, I ain't trying to go down.
Exactly.
I'm not taking a 5 month road trip. That costs money.
But he was laid off. He probably got a nice package.
Of course he did.
So he got a nice package, and he's saying, you know what? I don't need to rush out and get a job, but that doesn't last forever. No, especially if you don't have another job.
Yep.
So
he doesn't seem to be too worried about it, though. He doesn't seem to be stressed about it. So,
but Bums is never worried about the next day. I'm saying he's a bum. I'm just saying bums don't worry about the next day. So I'm still gonna need to see him with a mature adult plan.
Yeah,
it's great that you got a package and that you can sit on your behind for 6 to 7 months because I got one and I sat out of the workforce for like 7 months. Nice. Enjoyed it. Nice. But at the end of the day, I still had a plan. So he needs to be able to tell her something more than what he's saying.
Yeah. But I also think that, again, it's still new. They literally just got married. It's been 24 hours. I get where her family and Noi are like, what's your work situation and stuff. But I think that in time, like he wasn't trying to address it, but I think in time, as days and weeks go on, he's going to talk to her about it. He's going to address it. But I think, again, as a man, he's not going to want to talk to you. He don't know you, number one. Number two, he's going to have to establish some feelings for you in order to open up and have that conversation about finances and my future and what's going to happen. Because I know Noi's mother, it is what it is. It's the culture. It's all of our cultures, Mama wants grandbabies and he ain't trying to think about that shit right now.
But he is though. He is,
but not like yesterday.
But no, he's talked about it in the very He's talked about it in the very near future. That's what he wants. A wife and kids. That's what he said. So what is your plan for that? That's all.
But at the end of the day, there's no kids on the table just yet. So he's got time to work with. He doesn't have to tell her right off the rip or talk to her parents. I think they're going to be good.
I think they're going to be good, but if he has that attitude, that selfish attitude to me, to have that, I don't need to tell you what my future plans are. I'm your wife. No, you need to tell me. I need to know, especially because I don't know you.
Yeah,
that is true. But again, you took a 4-month trip, so you got money. I'm sorry, you took a 4 or 5 month trip. You got some coin in that thing.
He's living out of his car. He's living out of his car. That doesn't. To me, that doesn't mean
gas costs money. He was traveling up and down the East Coast. Gas costs money. Food.
That's a package.
I mean, yeah, he was
That's
living in his car.
That's not money. That's not money.
I think Steve's got some coin in the bank. And that's why Steve ain't worried.
I think
we'll see.
We'll say, either.
We're gonna have to see.
All I'm saying is his attitude is he's not pressed.
He's not pressed at all.
And I think you could see if someone was pressed, you'd be like, oh shit.
Shit, I'm pressed every day and I have a job.
If you listen to his parents about that too, that has always been his attitude. So he might just be the minimum guy. Like, I'm going to do the minimum to make sure that I live and have, a place to stay and food to eat. The minimum. I'm not gonna go get all into that. I just feel I like them as a couple. I do feel that he has like a very good attitude towards life in general, and he seems like a very friendly guy, and he, seems outgoing. Yeah. But finances is a huge thing. Stability is a huge thing. Having been in a situation where there was none like that, it wreaks havoc on a marriage.
Girl,
Get it?
Listen. Already know. Been there, done that. Listen, I'm just going to say that I'm kind of with Steve. I'm just living. I don't have a husband. I don't have no kids. So I'm just doing the most to pay my mortgage and pay my bills and have a good life. If I had a husband and some kids, I'd be out there every day. I'm hustling and banking all this money. But I don't. So therefore, we're good. Hey, Prince. Prince is home. Prince coming in here. Guns blazing.
Hey.
Hi, Prince. So it was a good episode. So we have to see what happens the next episode.
There's some stuff that's going down.
Some shit's about to hit the. I saw the previews. I watched the previews, and I ain't gonna talk about it. But all I'm gonna say is shit is about to go.
Oh, in the previews, I didn't see it. Like I said, I'm really shocked that I almost feel like fighting somebody for those 2 hours that I'm watching this shit. I'm like, I'm getting that.
That's every week. It's like a job for me. I mean, this is our job. Like, I have to wake up on early Thursday morning at 2 a.m. because I can't watch that shit while it's recording because I want to be able to zoom through the commercials.
And it's not even the commercials. It's the content. I like the commercials better.
Ooh, girl, can we talk about some of them Lifetime movies that it's coming on? I got to watch some of them. On a side note, I guess we're done with all of the couples. Love you guys. Chris, you got something to do. All right, so we're going to end this because I was going to bring up something else, but we'll talk about that in another time. That's a whole other podcast. Love you guys. Thank you guys for watching the podcast. We love you. Chris, Shahidah. Until next time.